episode 5 of Karlene's Anime Corner. I am really happy to be with you guys this week. It has been a wonderful October so far. Animal Crossing has their October event going on, so my pumpkin patch is looking full and lush and just ready to be harvested at any moment to make all that wonderful spooky furniture. And on top of that, the new anime season has begun, so I'm looking forward to checking out every new series that's coming out and seeing what looks fabulous and what looks horrible, because sometimes it's fun to watch something that's horrible as well as great. Today we are going to be reviewing a series that I am going to let the cat out of the bag now. I have given a really high rating because it was love at first episode with this series. It has a great sense of humor, lots of good action. It's everything I like to see in a shonen series, but it also breaks every shonen trope out there. I am going to be reviewing today an anime I have seen 4 times all the way through. Most series, you can't say that, but this one I have now officially watched 4 times, twice in English and twice in Japanese. So, to end all the suspense here, today I am reviewing One Punch Man. One Punch Man came out in 2015. It was directed by Shingo Natsumi and animated by Studio Madhouse. It's based on a manga by One, and yes, the author's name is just One, spelled O-N-E. Gonna guess that's a pseudonym. This series is available to watch on Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Hulu. Netflix, as far as I can tell, does not have the English dub, which is a little bit sad because it is actually a really well done dub. And there is a second season to this series, which is also not available on Netflix, but Crunchyroll and Hulu have it. And I will go in a little bit more on that, but for this review, we're just looking at the first season. Now, most shonen shows, you start out with your teenage protagonist who is out to gain power, prestige, and get whatever great gimmick he's going after. For example, Luffy in the One Piece. He starts out fairly young, and as he goes traveling, he gets stronger and stronger and learns new things. This same pattern shows up in almost every shonen show, from Shaman King to Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, Bleach, and Hikaru no Go, if you want a little bit of an off-the-wall one. But One Punch Man, it is different. When we meet Saitama, he is in his mid-20s, and he is already at the pinnacle of his physical abilities. He has been training, he has done all this work, but we never see any of it. We don't follow him on his journey to becoming a hero. We follow him on his journey to trying not to be bored. Because if you can defeat everything with one punch, what is there left for you to do? So we start the series with Saitama punching out a monster and then going to the grocery store. Because what else do you do when you can defeat any enemy with one punch? Studio Madhouse, who does the animation for this series, is known for their spectacular work. And they do particularly well on the villains and monsters that are displayed in this series with their detail and amazing actions. However, my favorite character design and animation for this series is the main character, Saitama. He is just really well done. When he's in his blasé, I don't care about anything, I just want to get to the grocery store and get a sale type thing, or, when he's confused or just not, fighting or getting serious about life, he literally looks a little bit like an egg on his head. He's a large oval head that's bald and not a lot of defining detail. But as soon as he gets serious about something, he instantly gets all the shading and cross-hatching, his chin becomes more pronounced, and he instantly looks like that epic superhero that you want to see in an anime. In the second episode of this series, we meet the next main character who will be with us throughout the entire series. His name is Genos, and he's a 19-year-old cyborg. And if Saitama is the opposite of your typical shonen hero trope, Genos is that shonen hero trope. His parents died when an evil cyborg killed them, and he got turned into a cyborg himself, and now he's trying to hunt down that evil cyborg, and meanwhile grow stronger and help people. When he meets Saitama and realizes just how strong Saitama is, He instantly decides that Saitama needs to become his master and teach him everything he knows. What I love is the fact that even as Genos comes to realize that there's really not all that much special about Saitama, they still manage to hold on to that relationship, and it grows with them. It's really great to see how they work together. And as I said with Saitama, the animation and character design for him is fairly simple until he goes into action. With Genos, it starts out as more complicated, but when they show all of his gears revving up when he's going into a fight as a cyborg, it is an amazing job and looks absolutely fantastic. Normally I would go over the first 3 episodes with you guys, just, telling a little bit about what happens and how it sets up the series and what I like about it and don't like. But at this point, I feel like I've gushed a little bit too much about this anime. It is really good, and I highly recommend it. The only negatives to it is that there's a few points of humor that I don't actually find all that funny, even in normal anime, but it is an anime trope, and I've learned to deal with it and just kind of go on, as long as it's not too egregiously bad. So, in summary, I have given this show a 4.5 out of 5. And yes, I do actually own the collector's edition with the art cards, and I enjoy watching it a lot, as you have heard previously. As I mentioned at the beginning of this review, there is a second season of One Punch Man, but it is done by a completely different director and a different art studio. So I haven't watched it yet because I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be a bit different than the first one, but I'm thinking maybe I need to finally sit down and give it a try because who knows, it still might have the same humor, it might have a lot of the tropes that I enjoy, and hey, it's good to have something to look forward to on a rainy day. Since we are headed into the Halloween season, I thought I would talk a little bit today about one of my favorite Japanese monsters, and probably the one that everybody knows about, Godzilla. Godzilla was the first kaiju. A kaiju, as far as I can tell, is a giant monster that appears in Japanese films. And as I said, Godzilla was the first. His movie came out in 1954. If you have not seen the original 1954 Godzilla movie from Japan, I highly recommend it. It is very different than what you might expect. And please, watch the Japanese one, not the American remake that came out a few years later called Godzilla King of the Monsters, because what they did with Godzilla King of the Monsters is they cut out a whole bunch of the original footage, and then they inserted an American reporter who would then do a whole bunch of monologue to tell you what was going on. I didn't find that one very good or very interesting because of that. I haven't watched very many Godzilla films, mostly the modern American ones like 1998's Godzilla and the one they made in 2000. I did watch the most recent Japanese one, Shin Godzilla, but out of all of those, I firmly believe the 1954 one was the best as far as monster and people characters. The 1954 Godzilla film also pioneered a whole new way of doing film special effects, called suitimation, where they have a stunt actor who dresses up in the monster suit and then interacts with miniatures. I love the miniatures in the original film. There is so much detail. They pretty much recreated an entire city for Godzilla to destroy that way. Other examples of kaiju you might have heard of are Rodan, Gamera, Mothra, and King Kong. Of these, King Kong is the only one that does not come from Japan, though Japan was quick to adopt him and have him and Godzilla fight in a film from 1962 called King Kong vs. Godzilla. One day I'll have to watch that one. I'm slowly going to start working my way through all the Godzilla films, starting with 1954 to the modern era. Thank you for joining me today as we talked about One Punch Man and Godzilla. If you have anything you would like to add to the discussion, please send me an email through the email address that's in the notes below. And as with every day, I hope you have fun and watch a lot of anime.